Welcome to Learn with Naitik. Okay, today we are getting into something seriously intense. We're unpacking the ultimate Sigma mindset by pulling strategies directly from Robert Greene's legendary book, The 48 Laws of Power. And you know what? We're actually skipping the basics today. We are jumping straight into the deep end, exploring the fascinating and honestly kind of ruthless tactics found in the later chapters of the book. A tiger doesn't ask the crowd for permission before hunting. Conquer every battlefield. Man, that is just raw, right? But it perfectly sets the vibe for today's explainer. We're looking at exactly what it takes to stop waiting around for things to happen and start making our own rules. We're going to dive deep into the psychological strategies that historically powerful figures have used to totally navigate and dominate their worlds. So this book is basically the undeniable hustler's blueprint. To make it super digestible, we've taken laws 31 through 40 and structured them into 4 actionable power moves. Let's look at how these strategies can completely shift the way we view our everyday interactions and how understanding them gives us a massive, massive advantage in literally any competitive environment. All right, Scene 1, Play the Player. We're covering laws 31, 32, and 33 here. Starting right off with Law 31, control the options. Greene says that the absolute best deception, it isn't a lie, it's actually giving your opponent a choice. And here is the absolute genius part of this, you design the game so that whichever option they choose secretly benefits your agenda. You deal the cards, you set the boundaries, so they feel like they're completely in control of their own destiny, but you win either way. It's the ultimate illusion of freedom. Okay, that brings us to Law 33, discovering the thumbscrew. Look, the idea here is that everyone, and I mean everyone, has a hidden emotional weakness. Maybe it's a deep-seated insecurity, or just a childish need. Greene argues that when you figure out what that is in another person, usually just by listening carefully and watching where they act a little irrationally, you gain ultimate leverage. You hold the key to their reactions, and that gives you complete control over the dynamic of the relationship. But, quick timeout, Greene's book strictly warns us about the dangers here. You've got to be super careful when playing on emotional weaknesses. If you push too hard on an insecurity, it can create this crazy volatile reaction that blows up right in your face. The text really emphasizes that true players are after strategic power and long-term stability. They aren't just looking for the chaotic thrill of controlling someone else's emotions and triggering a meltdown. Now, think about our modern Gen Z hustle culture for a second. You hear it every day. Hustle hard, grind daily. That's what everyone says every single day. Well, this ties perfectly into Law 32, playing to people's fantasies. While everyone out there is constantly talking about the grueling grind, the smartest players exploit the fantasy of effortless success. People want to believe in magic, not hard work. By presenting an aura of effortless achievement, you completely capture their imagination and their loyalty. Moving on to Theme 2, Crown Yourself King. This is all about Law 34. Law 34, be royal in your own fashion. So the court judgment here is pretty simple. If you want to be treated like a king, or, a true Sigma, you actually have to act like one first. The book proposes that you have to radiate confidence and demand that respect through your demeanor long before anyone else validates it for you. Your posture, your tone, your sheer presence, that is what tells the world exactly how to price you. Let's just contrast the two mindsets. You've got the common mindset, right? Trying to blend in, or maybe trying way too hard to be edgy or vulgar just to get some cheap attention. According to Greene, doing that just makes you easily replaced. The king mindset, on the other hand, is about acting regally. It's about standing out through quiet dignity and inspiring respect. Trying too hard to fit the lowest common denominator, that just makes you entirely expendable, which totally aligns with this raw modern rule: drop anyone who doesn't value you. Greene suggests that you have to value yourself like royalty. A true king knows their worth, right? And they will brutally cut off anyone who treats them like a convenient option instead of an absolute priority. Guarding your inner circle fiercely is exactly how you maintain that high-value perception. Okay, Theme 3, Master Timing and Spectacle. We're looking at laws 35, 36, and 37. Law 35 is all about mastering the art of timing. The main takeaway here, never, ever seem to be in a hurry. Hurrying betrays a total lack of control over yourself, and even worse, a lack of control over time itself. The book points out that when you rush, you just look like a subordinate reacting to the world instead of a leader deliberately shaping it. Now, if you combine the principles of laws 35 and 37, you get this absolutely lethal strategic combination. You basically have to become a detective of the right moment. Stand back patiently when the time isn't right, and then strike fiercely when it is. And when you finally do make your move, Law 37 says to dazzle people. Stage compelling spectacles, use striking imagery to capture their attention. This perfectly hides your underlying intentions. While they're all busy staring at the fireworks, you're quietly maneuvering exactly into position. Which naturally brings us to Law 36. Disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. Honestly, this is so powerful. If you give your attention to a petty problem or some minor enemy, you're actually giving them your power. You're handing them credibility on a silver platter. The most regal thing you can do to an obstacle or an irritating detractor is to act like it literally doesn't even exist. And this is so incredibly relevant today, especially in dating and just general hustle culture. Getting mixed signals, dealing with petty drama, the absolute most powerful thing you can do is just ignore them. Leaving someone unseen or completely ignoring their inconsistency is the most savage power move of all. Silence is your ultimate answer. It speaks volumes more than getting dragged into some argument you just don't need to have. Finally, let's hit theme 4, Despise the free lunch, covering laws 38, 39, and 40. So a really crucial point in this section is Law 40 itself, Despise the free lunch. Greene is pretty clear. Anything offered for free in this world almost always involves a trick or some hidden obligation. If it has worth, it's worth paying for. Accepting favors, that usually end up costing you significantly more in the long run. Think of a free lunch as a dangerous illusion of generosity. It's basically a mechanism designed to trap you in a web of gratitude, guilt, and deceit. True bosses, true leaders, they always pay their own way. The minute you cut corners and take a handout, you're implicitly trading away your power and your independence. Paying the full price is exactly how you stay totally free and unencumbered. And this ties right into Law 39, stir up waters to catch fish. Look, getting angry is strategically useless. The text explains that you never want to lose your temper because emotion clouds your judgment. Instead, you win by rattling your enemy's vanity. You make them emotional, you make them highly reactive, all while you remain completely calm, observant, and totally unbothered. Now let's connect this back to Law 38. Law 38 tells us it's safer to behave like others and blend in outwardly just to avoid being a target of resentment. When we connect that to modern wisdom like matching energy and actually having a real connection, those are two completely different things. We start to see the core strategy. You have to protect your inner peace. You can blend in outwardly, you can match the room's energy, and you can manipulate the chaos around you without ever letting that chaos actually touch your core values or your emotional state. So we've broken down how to manipulate the board, we've crowned the king, we've mastered timing, and we've learned to pay the full price. The only question left is, are you ready to rule your game? It might just be time to stop being a pawn in someone else's strategy and start actively applying these historical laws to navigate your own path to success. Apply these lessons, stay sharp, and always remember our channel motto: keep learning, keep growing. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll see you in the next one.